Client wants to know what's a 1031 exchange and how does it help real estate investors?
Okay. So a 1031 exchange is a tax-free like-kind exchange. So in the old days, before 2017, this could potentially apply to various kinds of business assets. In 2017, the law was changed and says only real estate qualifies. So if you have investment property, investment real estate, you can do a like kind exchange, meaning that you sell one piece of investment property, you take that money and you reinvest it into other real investment property, investment real estate. And it doesn't have to be one for one, it could be 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 3 to 2, any kind of arrangement, as long as the money flow is taken care of. Then it is tax free because you didn't actually bring that money home for personal use. You kept it working in the economy. So it's an incentive to keep your real estate investment working for providing housing and commercial real estate and whatever else. So that's what it is. It does not apply to personal residences at all. So it has to be investment property. And you can't just decide to do it on your own. You have to use what's called a 1031 intermediary, and basically they hold the funds from the sale. And then you have a certain timeline, it's 3 months, to identify the next property you want to roll that money into. And then you have another 3 months to close on the property. So basically, there's a 6 month window. And sometimes you can do reverse, sometimes you can do pre-identification. So there's different ways to massage that. But your 1031 intermediary will handle all that and can guide you along the way. So here's the thing about 1031 exchanges. Two things. One is that they don't have to be complete. So let's say I've got $500,000 of investment real estate. I want to 1031 that, but I want to take 100 off the top for myself. You can do that, and you can roll the rest of it. So the 400 would roll tax free or tax deferred technically, but the 100 you bring home would be taxed. So you can split it up that way as you like. The other thing about 1031 exchanges is that your basis carries forward. What that means is, let's say I've got this $500,000 property that I bought for 200,000 however long ago, and that's my cost basis. So I've got $300,000 worth of gain. I don't want to pay tax on the 300. I want to roll it all into 1031 and buy something else bigger and better and all that kind of stuff. So when I do that, my cost basis for that second property is still the 200 from the first property. And so you're assuming things go well, your cost basis becomes a smaller and smaller fraction, and your potential capital gain gets bigger and bigger over time. So that works just fine, so long as you don't sell that property you exchanged into. So what ends up happening is that some people get stuck because they get overly aggressive on their financing. So we saw this a lot in 2008, in the 2008 to 2012 real estate crash. Commercial, we might be seeing that now because people are getting their rates reset because a lot of commercial loans have 5-year balloons and things like that. So what ends up happening is, let's say I bought that place for 200, sold it for 500, rolled that 500 into something that was worth, I don't know, 2 million, and 500,000 was a down payment, right? So at that point, it's now I've got a $2 billion property, but I only have $500,000 of equity in it. And if that equity decreases because we have a market correction of 20%, 25%, whatever, I might be underwater from a financing perspective and not get any cash at all if I were to sell that property. And still, I would have a tax bill of, even if I sold it at 1.5, I would still have a tax bill on $1.3 million worth of gains. In those kind of scenarios, if people get caught on leverage, then it can be real nasty. Where 1031s work beautifully is in the buy, borrow, die strategy. You buy, you borrow, and to pull out some equity for cash flow, which is not a taxable event because it's a loan, and you keep doing that, and then you die because your heirs get a step up in basis, and they don't have to pay tax on the gain, and you are deceased, so you no longer need to worry about taxes. Because the two things that are certain in life, right? Death and taxes. And you'll be done with the tax
Ah,
part.
horrible.
But yeah, ones are super powerful. People use them all the time. It's just you got to be careful with the long-term planning. That's all. As long as that fits with your estate plan and your overall life investment approach, then great, go for it.
Alrighty. That was sad news.
It's just we are all mortal in this world. It is what it is.